What a fucking episode! That was absolutely fantastic. Let's jump in. Let's jump right in and start talking about the main thing, the best thing about the episode, in my mind. That is Jon Snow and Sansa's reunion. That was everything I hoped it would be, and it was just fantastic. I remember last episode thinking that with Jon Snow just about to leave Castle Black, Sansa just about to arrive to Castle Black, they'd do another Bran, and the two characters would just end up missing each other, like Jon Snow and Bran missed each other at Craster's Keep. But I'm really glad to see two Starks actually in the same place now. And it is really interesting for these two characters because they've never actually interacted in the books or the show before. Which means the first thing Sansa's ever said to Jon Snow over the course of the entire story is, this is good soup. Which I found that funny. But yeah, I felt it continued the theme of the past few episodes of character interaction that we wouldn't typically expect. Characters from different stories finally coming together. I feel we're seeing a big structural change in how Thrones is being told now. For the first season and maybe the second season as well, most of the main characters were quite consolidated. You had all the main characters in maybe 4 or 5 central locations. And then over the course of seasons 3 and 4 and 5, the characters absolutely scattered to the winds. And all went off on their own separate ways. And that can be really difficult from a storytelling perspective because it makes all the different characters harder to follow. You can't have as many interwoven stories, and it gave us some of the weaker episodes of the show in season 3 and 4. But now with all the characters coming back together, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of the cohesive storytelling from the early episodes of season 1, which I'm really, really looking forward to. In terms of the stuff at Castle Black and in the North, it was all fantastic. And I think a big part of this episode is setting up, particularly for the parts in Westeros, it's setting up things that are going to be awesome in the next few episodes. Like the scenes between Sansa and Jon were mainly setting up the bastard bowl between Jon Snow and Ramsay, and that's going to be absolutely fantastic. I'm really hoping that that conflict's going to play itself out over the entire season. The last episode is going to be about how Jon Snow finally kills Ramsay. I'm predicting Ramsay's death by the end of the season. Yeah, that's something I think will happen. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to Sansa's confrontation with Littlefinger next episode. Sansa's becoming much more of a stronger character, and I think we can definitely see that, not in how she manipulated Jon Snow, but definitely how she convinced Snow to go to war. The letter did help, but it was also Sansa being insistent and actually finally getting something done. She's no longer being protected by people who are trying to use her. She's only being protected by Brienne, someone who, I guess, wants to be used by her. That's not the right way to put it, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. So I think Sansa's storyline is going to become absolutely amazing this season. Though I've always been a fan of Sansa. I've always enjoyed her storyline. Yeah, Brienne was really fun. I felt she was bullying Davos a bit. You killed Stannis, just let it go now. What the fuck's going on with Davos? I feel they're underutilizing his character at the moment. He's not doing anything. He was really cool in the first 2 episodes when he was trying to bring Jon Snow back, and now that Jon's actually back, Davos is like, what do I do now? My king is dead. Everyone I know is dead. Everything is gone. What's Davos gonna do? It would make sense for him to stay with the Night's Watch, maybe take the Black. I don't know. But they also established that he has a wife somewhere. So I guess she's just not important. Yeah. And Mel looks like she's going to stay at the Wall, which is going to be fun, I guess. Or just... Actually, no, not at the Wall. She's going to follow Jon Snow now. So it'll be... maybe Mel will be helping Snow lead his armies like she did with Stannis. That's going to be really fun. Yeah, in terms of what else happened in the North, Osha's death I felt it was really pointless and surprising at the time, but in hindsight, I guess I do see it. It feels kind of cheap to take a character that was so loved in seasons 2 and 3, bring her back for like an episode and just to have her killed. But I guess it works. And it does work within the overall structural framework of the story because spoilers. So book spoilers. Skip ahead a minute if you don't want book spoilers, I guess. Because in the books, it's Mance Rayder who is captured by Ramsay instead of Rickon. So I feel Rickon has replaced Mance as the thing that forces Jon to go south and face Ramsay. And Osha has sort of taken the place of the 6 spear wives that Ramsay murdered in the books. So, yeah. But yeah, all that's going to be awesome. But moving on. King's Landing. I found the political stuff in King's Landing really boring this episode. I feel Cersei's conflict with the small council is starting to get very repetitive. I'm just like, okay, yes, we get none of you like each other. Let's just move on. What else does Cersei have to do for this season? You know, Daenerys' story started stagnating, so they kept moving her about from location to location. Is Cersei actually going to do that? Because I would personally love to see Cersei somewhere else other than King's Landing. I feel that is rife with storytelling opportunities. I feel there's just not a lot else we can get with her in King's Landing. Her storyline has been played out a lot. I'm really worried about Tommen. I really want Tommen to survive, but I'm really scared he's not going to make it through the season. Which, if you've read some of the previous posts I've made, would actually make Cersei the legitimate heir, but I'll do something separate on that at some point. I did really enjoy the Tyrell stuff. Not the Marjorie stuff. That was I am kind of glad to see Marjorie after she's been gone for 6 fucking episodes. We saw her for like a minute in the first episode of season 6, but does that even count? Aside from that, we haven't seen her since episode 7 of last season. She's just been in prison this entire time. Honestly, I want Marjorie to... at this point, Marjorie isn't even a character. She's just a plot piece that's motivating all the other characters. But I'm really excited to see the confrontation between House Tyrell and the Faith. That's going to be amazing. Whereas the Bastard Bowl is going to be like Jon Snow's seasonal storyline, I feel the conflict between the Tyrells and the Faith is going to be the main King's Landing storyline for this season. In terms of the other King's Landing stuff, I love the fact that Sir Kevin's got such a big role now. He was always one of my favourite book characters. And can Sir Jaime just fuck off to the Riverlands already? I feel every scene he stays in King's Landing is just degenerating his character. In the books, it was all about getting him away from the toxic relationship with Cersei, making him grow as an actual person and character, and now he's just palling around with Cersei again. I don't want to see that. Show me Sir Jaime actually growing as a character. Send him to the Riverlands finally. Like, I have no idea why you sent him to Dorne last season, because that was supposed to be the Riverlands, but come on, move that story forward. And speaking of Dorne, are we ever going to see them again? Like, are they just... Ilaria Sanders billed as a starring character for this season, but are we ever going to see her again? I feel like Martin forced the showrunners to include the Dornish, and that's why we got this sort of half-hearted appearance last season, and then I guess maybe he gave up, so the showrunners like, yes, we can kill them all now! And I'm really worried that we're just never going to return to that. It's just going to be this thing that is occasionally mentioned. We've had characters disappear before, like where the fuck is Gendry? And now we've just had one of the entire... Out of the 7 kingdoms, now we've just had an entire kingdom just disappear. Whatever. Tyrion's storyline. I feel like Meereen has become this angry god that Meereen is never going to leave the show now, and every season we're just going to have to sacrifice a beloved character to them to keep it satisfied. Every season, Meereen is going to suck in a good character and just ruin their storyline. For season 5, No one cared about Daenerys. Now I guess we need to satisfy ourselves with the fact that no one will care about Tyrion. Though I know, like last few episodes, Tyrion's story seemed kind of boring, but I did enjoy Tyrion's stuff this episode, but I feel as if that might have been a bit of a fluke. Honestly, I'm just glad to see Tyrion being political again. In my mind, the best Tyrion scenes we ever got were in season 2, where he was Hand of the King, and season 3. Like, I like Tyrion. I like to see Tyrion in power, getting shit done, actually trying to accomplish things. And I really did appreciate the historical parallels of it. Like, in the inside of the episode thing that the showrunners do for each episode, they were talking about how Tyrion is supposed to be an analogy for Lincoln here, and the whole Marine thing is like the American Civil War, with Tyrion trying to keep peace on both sides, like letting the slavers slave for another 7 years as a compromise to actually keep some peace. I did really enjoy that, and if they maintain that very delicate balance, I feel the Marine story could actually be interesting, but it's teetering on the point of mediocrity at this point. I just if I keep looking this way, it's because I'm referring to my notes on what I wrote. But I still don't really give a fuck about Marine. But we're finally back in Vares Dothrak. We're finally back with Daenerys. Daenerys' storyline is finally cool again. She's finally been written out of the corner she was stuck in for fucking 2.5 seasons. Honestly, I hope she never returns to Meereen. Or maybe she leads the Dothraki into burning Meereen to the ground, because honestly, it's just pointless at this point. Destroy it. I felt that Dario and Jorah stuff was kind of forced. It felt like a cheap sitcom. Like, the two of them traveling together felt like a buddy cop movie or something. When's the grayscale with Jorah actually going to become important? Like, they had like 2 episodes where they were like, yes, don't let it touch you or you'll die instantly. And now, a season later, he's not dead yet. Like, what? I'm not saying I want Ser Jorah to die. I want Ser Jorah to die. But I want some clarity in that storyline, I guess. I felt this was I did feel as if this was one of the first episodes where I actually liked and identified with the new Dario. I really enjoyed him this episode. But obviously, the main thing we need to talk about is Daenerys. Her confrontation with the Khals was amazing. I so did not see that coming. I thought this storyline this season would be entirely about Daenerys going back into servitude and back into slavery, and that storyline would be more elongated, and then she'd have to gradually build herself up. But no, in like 8 minutes, she's become the queen of the Dothraki. That was fucking awesome. Burning the tent down. I guess we do have to ignore the fact that she murdered a good amount of people, but whatever. Like, she was really upset about the death of her Khal, and now she's killed like 60 Khals. Whatever. I was actually expecting a lot more Khals to be there. There were like 8 dudes there. Are those the leaders of the Dothraki? But that was absolutely awesome. I just loved the shot of Daenerys emerging from the fire. The shot reminded me of Terminator, actually. But it was it was really obviously a callback to the final scene of season 1, where she emerged from Drogo's funeral pile. But whereas there were like 100 people to witness that, there were like 1 million people to witness this one. It was absolutely fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to a season of Daenerys being the leader of the Dothraki, leading the Dothraki, maybe just burning her way across Essos. Finally getting to Westeros, maybe. I don't know. Or something like that. On a really minor note, the new character that was introduced, the Lazarine Khaleesi, her name's actually Ornella. I got that off the Game of Thrones wiki. The girl who was like married to a Khal when she was 12. She looks really cool. I'm really hoping she becomes a recurring character. Like, becoming another one of Daenerys' retainers or whatever. That would be really, really cool. And yeah, that's the episode. Predictions for the rest of the season. Obviously, I've talked a bit about the Bastard Bowl. That's going to be... I can't wait for that. Honestly, at this point, if the show was entirely about the North, that would be fine with me. Again, really looking forward to Sansa's confrontation with Littlefinger. I feel as if Sansa's storyline for the entirety of the rest of the show is going to be about her sort of developing into a Littlefinger-esque character, about Sansa becoming the new manipulator of the Game of Thrones storyline. The conflicts between the Tyrells and the Faith is going to be really awesome, and I feel as if that's going to be played out within 2 or 3 episodes, because I feel the end of the seasonal story for King's Landing this season needs to be with Cersei and her trial with Sir Gregor as her champion, and a certain gravedigger from a religious island is the Faith's champion. Who knows? That's going to be really, really fucking cool. What else do I say? Yes, Kingsmoot happening next episode with the Greyjoys. That's gonna be quite interesting. I quite enjoyed the Greyjoy stuff in the books. And yeah, there was one other thing I really wanted to say, and it's just completely slipped my mind. Deaths for this season. Okay, so I think Ramsay's definitely going to die. I really don't want to, but I think Tommen's probably going to die. Somehow. Lord Royce, the dude in the veil, who Littlefinger was like, hey, should we kill him? And Robin's like, yeah, kill him if you want. I think he is actually going to die at some point. I'm calling that death ahead of time. I can very easily see Tormund dying in the assault on Winterfell or whatever, but I feel as if we have very few characters up at the wall. We can't afford to waste them. We need to start bringing some new characters in. I feel it's more than time enough for a Tyrell to die. No Tyrells have actually died at this point over the course of the entire show, and it's fucking time for that. Yeah, but the main 2 I'm predicting for this season are Tommen and Ramsay. So, yeah. Anyway, I guess I'll see you next week. Remember to like and subscribe, so maybe I can, if I get enough subscribers past the 6 I already have, maybe I'll be able to do more than just sitting in front of a webcam for 18 minutes. But yeah, I do have a lot of fun doing these videos. And I know they're only watched by 5 people, but it's still a lot of fun. But yeah, if you could subscribe, that would be really, really neat. And I want to do some more Game of Thrones videos, not just reviews, but other things, because I love talking about it. I feel it helps me order the story in my own mind as well, so that's really good. Anyway, I'll see you fuckers next week. Valador Hyrus!